Welcome to Scott Fox After 9. It's Friday. That means today is Listener DMs. The great Anna Almeida is here, and we're going to bring Anna in just a sec. She's going to read the DMs that came in. I'll respond. Good episode on the way. But before I get to that, yesterday, I got incredible response to a clip that I played. So much, in fact, people were asking me, can you make that available, like right at the beginning, so I can play it for my family and friends? Yeah, you bet. Absolutely. It was a committee hearing in Ottawa. It was a member of the Canada Border Services Agency explaining how someone makes an asylum claim when they come to Canada. Now, keep in mind, as soon as somebody is granted asylum status, they get access to our healthcare system. They get access to extended benefits that even Canadians don't get. They get all kinds of stuff, including taxpayer money. Listen to how easy it is.
In essence, to speed things up, because we are short-staffed, we're allowing people into the country without first doing that security screening.
Okay, hold on a second here. So you're saying that a refugee claimant coming to Canada goes to a machine and says, I want to be a refugee in Canada, hits a button, and they're in the country? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's not a machine, it's an application. So the one-touch system, they're given instructions on how to use that. That connects directly with IRCC, and they're given that documentation to complete on their own once they're in the country. We're not doing that. So basically,
they take out their phone, theoretically, and they tap it a few times, and they are now in the country as a refugee accepted by our country.
Yes, we get some basic data from them, and again, we do the biometrics. But beyond that, they're doing that on their own, yes.
What in the actual?
Anna, how are you?
Good.
Isn't that crazy? That is completely crazy. We have no idea who these people are, but even if you're coming to Canada on a vacation from a country that you probably shouldn't have a valid refugee claim from, you just say, I'm a refugee. They're going to give you the app. You fill out a couple of things, and bam. You can work in Canada. You get access to our social safety net. You get money from the taxpayers. We put you up in a hotel, all of it. And it can take years to actually hear your claim. And once we do, even if we decide, nope, that's a bogus claim, you got to get out of our country. Then you get to appeal, which can take another year plus. No wonder this country is broke. This is the kind of stuff that's going on, and it's nuts. Hey, Anna, since you're here, before I get to the listener DMs, Can I play another clip for you?
Oh, please, yes.
I like this one a lot. It is of the Premier of Alberta. I played her yesterday explaining why she's using the notwithstanding clause to pass 3 bills that affect the trans community. She's going to restrict trans youth from using puberty blockers. And by the way, New Zealand just announced they're also doing that.
Okay.
So there is other people very similar to Canada doing that. She announced that she's going to use the notwithstanding clause to make sure that parents are informed and consent if their kid wants to use different pronouns at school. Now, that's the opposite of what happens in other jurisdictions where they won't even tell the parents if their kid has transitioned at school or wants to be called by different pronouns.
Okay.
And the third one is to prevent biological males who say they've transitioned from competing against biological women in sports. A lot of people wrote in after hearing what Danielle Smith had to say the other day, and people are saying things to me like, she should be the prime minister. I would vote for her if she were running for prime minister. I'm a liberal, and I would vote for her if she were running for prime minister. Could you get behind a Prime Minister Danielle Smith, do you think?
I like to see a woman in power, not just because she's a woman, but I think it's just nice to have somebody who's not afraid to go against others and can speak her truth, whether it's valid or not, whether you agree or not. I think it's important to have somebody who's strong enough to lead.
She got asked an interesting question during that news conference that somebody pointed out to me. They asked her what role she sees for DEI in society, diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is a controversial topic. There's a lot of people that have been forced to sit through these crazy seminars where they try and indoctrinate you on you being a colonizer and such. The DEI stuff I'm not a fan of, but they asked Premier Smith about it and she gave a really good answer. This is 35 seconds. Okay. Listen to this.
Let's be frank, DEI is a very highly charged ideological doctrine that teaches a particular perspective about colonialism and white settlement. And you have to ask the question, what are we trying to get to with that? Are we trying to get to a point where we have fairness in hiring and a diversity of people who are hired into positions, or are we trying to socially engineer some kind of narrative? So I think that it's pretty clear that there's a difference between those two things, and we certainly support merit-based hiring and making sure that we're removing any barriers.
Well said, right?
Yeah. Well, there's lots of DMs about her too. So
real smart woman. Okay. Hey, you're here. I'm glad.
Yes.
It's time for listener DMs. So let's see what we got.
Here, you know what? Since we started with Danielle, let's just go with her first. So this one comes from Jen. I think Danielle would make a great prime minister. She seems to get straight to the point, makes sense, and does not sound like a thug like Doug Ford. Do you think she would ever run?
That's a good question. I think it's going to come down to what happens in January with Pierre Poilievre. See, right now, there's this massive media narrative out there, exactly like they did in America. They wanted to discredit Donald Trump, and they tried to make it seem like MAGA was rebelling against Donald Trump, and real Republicans they hate Donald Trump. Well, in reality, Donald Trump won by a landslide in the election, and he had his party behind him. The same is going to happen with Pierre Poilievre, but if you watch the news, they're really trying to sow dissent and make people think Pierre Poilievre can't win. Pierre Poilievre is terrible for the conservative brand. You got to get rid of him. The conservatives that I talk to seem to be fairly behind Pierre Poilievre, and I don't think that there's much that could change their mind on that. He has a leadership review coming up in January. I think the only thing, or one of the only things that could make people change their mind about Pierre is if Danielle said she wanted to run. Because if she did, that might mean a poor result for Pierre Poilievre.
Oh, you think?
It could be. I can't think of anyone else in the country that would probably be able to reach all ends of the conservative movement. Pierre, he mainly appeals to folks on the right. If I'm being honest, there's a lot of former progressive conservatives that don't like his style. Okay, that's fine. I mean, you don't have to like his style. His policies are certainly in line with conservative viewpoints. But if you get someone like Danielle Smith, maybe that would be enough to make people turn on Pierre. I don't know. There's no indication that she's going to run, but I've certainly heard from a lot of people every time I play her that say she should be our prime minister.
Well, here you have it.
I don't know if Quebec would ever accept an Alberta prime minister, though. That would be a real hard sell.
You never know. Crazier things have happened.
I don't know if she speaks French either. I'm not sure. But either way,
Rosetta Stone.
Very, very qualified candidate if she decided to throw her name in the hat.
Okay, well, keeping with that thought, Andreas writes, Danielle Smith has bigger balls than most transgender. I love her. When I was 18, I got a tattoo on a whim. Kids make impulsive choices. Everything she says is common sense. The obsession over young people's genitalia is insane. Some parents treat being transgender like a fad to seem cool instead of guiding their kids. Life-changing decisions like surgery or puberty blockers should wait until they're adults. As she said, they can't go to the zoo, but make irreversible choices make no sense. So I have voted for Premier Smith as Prime Minister.
Yeah, I get messages like that all the time. Anytime I play a clip from the Premier. The issue around trans issues, I know some people are trying to make hay of it. I really think that this is just a common sense thing. I don't think that biological males should be allowed to compete against biological females in competitive sports after a certain age. I don't know how many people disagree with that. I mean, it's a dangerous situation, and we've got to keep people safe first and foremost. And I think that we need to protect women's sports. We're doing so great at growing them between the Professional Women's Hockey League, the WNBA, MLS Soccer is getting into a women's league as well. That's all great stuff. We don't want people getting hurt because I'm going to stop myself there.
Okay.
Everybody understands the issue, and I think she's right about that. The puberty blockers, well, yeah, there's a lot of things you can't do until you turn a certain age. And really what she's doing is restricting the puberty blockers and the gender reassignment surgery until you reach one of those ages. And finally, what was the third thing she's doing? It's, I can't remember. There's three of them. Anyway, Premier Smith is great. I think that she's got a lot of common sense stuff on that particular issue, and it shouldn't be divisive. It shouldn't be. We should all agree that we want to protect our children and keep their options open, and that's all she is set out to do. If you want to hear the clip from yesterday that everybody is talking about, it is in yesterday's episode, the one that came down on Thursday, November the 20th.
Okay, perfect. Now we go to Alan. He writes, sad, sad day. I was hoping we would go back to the polls to get rid of the Liberals. It's time to leave before we end up like China. Love the pod and listen every day.
Oh, this is someone upset that the budget went through and that we're not going to have an election. Yes. There was a lot of people that were upset when the budget went through because they were getting their hopes up that we could have an election. But for anybody who missed that episode, I believe it was Tuesday, I gave you some pretty good information that I received from a higher up with the Conservative Party who explained to me the strategy. Conservatives were not going to bring that budget down. Pierre, even if he had the votes, wasn't going to. He would have done something to make sure that that budget passed. Why would he do that?
Yeah.
Because it's silly to go to an election right now with the polls the way they are. We would end up with the same result. There's a chance it could be a Liberal majority, and I don't think anybody, including a lot of Liberals, want that right now. They want to see more of what Mark Carney is going to do before they're willing to hand him the keys to the country and no opposition. So the odds of the Conservatives forcing an election and winning a majority were fairly slim. But there's a lot of reason to think that in the next few months, as the economy gets worse, as families go through a much more modest Christmas than they're used to, money is tight for a lot of people, they're going to turn on the government on their own. They don't need Pierre Poilievre to point out things are terrible in this country. They're going to see it. They're going to realize it. And folks are going to see that the deals that we were promised, the prosperity that we were hoping for, all the projects that are in that budget, they aren't going to happen overnight, and people are losing their patience. So the strategy is wait till the spring. There's many, many confidence votes coming between now and May, and bring them down on one of those when there's a better chance that the Conservatives could win. That's their strategy going into the next few months. Now, the downside is that budget passed. We're going to spend a whole ton of money that we don't have, and that concerns me, but that's the will of the people. The mistake wasn't made this week when the budget passed. The mistake was made back in April. We knew that this was going to be the case, that they were going to spend us into oblivion, and they are. So in a few months, when you're broke and maybe going to a food bank, God forbid, maybe you have to put your house up for sale and you realize it's gone down $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 in value. That's money gone out of your pocket. Maybe then you'll realize that elections have consequences. And I think that's basically what the strategy is. Let people come to the conclusion on their own, and they will. Very soon. Okay, 2 questions from me, Anna, for your Friday DMs. Scott, how quickly could we rebound if a new prime minister takes over? And can we force another election come spring and May? Yeah, there's going to be confidence votes. Every time there's a confidence vote, if the government loses it, then we have to have an election. Okay. It's that simple. So there's going to be confidence votes coming up. There's going to be chances to bring the government down on various different issues. There's no need to bring them down now and make people go and vote in December. Okay, but how quickly could we turn around in terms of financial and getting ahead in life again? Because it's so hard. The money got spent. Yeah. I mean, as soon as that budget passed, the Liberals were writing checks. That money is going to foreign dictatorships. It's going to go to NGOs. It's going to go to the UN. It's going to go to all kinds of different places. Our money is gone. The deficit is going to remain. If we get a new prime minister, then we go to a new plan. Pierre doesn't need to stop that budget to make life more affordable for Canadians. The Liberals could make life more affordable for us if they would stop printing money, first and foremost, and they could make things more affordable in a lot of different ways. Pierre's got a plan. He's laid it out, and if he gets elected, then hopefully we'll see it. The biggest thing is tax cuts. When 50% of your income basically is going to the government, you don't have much left. If you let people keep more of their money, which is the entire conservative philosophy, then the economy will do better. People have money, they spend money, businesses thrive, people get the things they need. It happens at a reasonable price. That's the only way forward. We've got to cut taxes. Unfortunately, this budget means Carney is going to have to raise taxes. Either the HST is going to have to go up or income taxes are going to have to go up. And those are just the two obvious ones. Excise taxes are going to go up. Import taxes are going to go up. Everything's going to go up. And you're going to get less, too. I see the cuts coming to pensions. Ooh, okay. Seniors, I know you're not going to like that. I know you don't want to hear it, but do the math. We have like an $80 billion deficit. What are we going to do? You got to cut expenses for the government. So yeah, they might have to cut your pension. They're going to have to raise taxes to get more money in. We pay more in in interest on our debt than we bring in HST in a year. That's how bad it is. It's not sustainable.
No, that's not sustainable.
They have to raise the HST. That's the obvious one. And I think that's what they're going to have to do.
All right. Next up, we have one from John. Well, even though I expected this, I feel defeated. And then I think I need a break. I've missed exactly 0 episodes of the pod. This shit is disappointing and it is weighing heavy on me. And I think I need to recharge and take a break from the politics. Adulting. Ugh. Thanks for everything you do. Keeping us informed, Scott. Always appreciated.
There was a lot of people that were upset this week at that budget because they got their hopes up that we might be able to turn things around. We might be able to not spend all that money. I get it. But listen, there's a lot of reason to still be optimistic. We're going into the holidays, and it is going to be a much more modest Christmas for a lot of people. Fully understand that. That's not your fault. That's the fault of government. That's government policy that has bankrupted the middle class. But try and enjoy the holidays with your family. Yeah. That's what Christmas is all about. Try and get yourself in a better mindset. Try and look forward to the vacation time that you're probably going to get over the holidays. A lot of people are taking some. You don't need to be doom and gloom because this budget passed. It passed. I think it's terrible for our country, but it is what it is. The prime minister still has a majority support right now from the people. So not everybody's upset. Let's see where it goes. It's either going to be awesome for our country or it's going to be a complete train wreck and people will be demanding an election. Either way, something good has to happen soon.
Okay. Next up, we have Brian. Hey, Scott, great pod. Just a couple thoughts or comments regarding the child support due to a deceased parent by a drunk driver.
This was a proposal that the Ontario government kind of floated out. I think they were trying to do that as a weather balloon. They wanted to see what kind of feedback they would get. And basically what it promised was if you are a drunk driver and you kill the parent or guardian of a child, you'll pay child support for that child until they turn 18 or graduate high school. There's pros and cons to this one. Let's hear the DM.
All right. He writes, I think as a surviving child to a deceased parent or parents.
Sorry to hear that.
I'd feel cheated if my parent was taken due to street racing, distracted driving without a license or insurance, and so on. Why just drinking? Took a moment to think about it, but I think the Conservatives made the right decision. They must get a majority win. As per the pod length, you could go for an hour, even 2, and I'd still listen.
I love that. Thank you. I brought this up the other day when the government floated it out there. Clearly, they were looking for feedback, and I'm happy to give it to them anytime they want. If we're going to go down that road where we're making criminals directly compensate the victims of crime, okay, we can have that conversation, but why stop at drunk driving? Yeah, if somebody's out there stunt driving, you see these idiots on social media all the time. The OPP always post a picture of the radar. Somebody doing 180 on the highway. Someone doing over 200 on the highway. They could kill someone. Absolutely, they could. If they do, because they wanted to speed on the highway, maybe they should pay child support. If you, get into a fight in a bar and you knock somebody out, they've got irreparable brain damage, you should pay child support. That's where this has to go. It can't be just restricted to impaired driving. So we just need to ask ourselves as a society, is that where we want to go? Also keeping in mind, a lot of criminals, especially the ones that do it for a living, don't have a lot of money. So I don't know if you'll ever collect that money anyway. It's going to create an unfair expectation and an unrealistic expectation for the victims of crime. I think the idea, it's worth discussing. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. By the way, though, when it comes to the provincial government floating out ideas, whatever happened to regulating the resale price of tickets? That was all they talked about for a week during the World Series, and I haven't heard a word about it since.
Neither have I. Until the next big concert or big event.
But they always talk about it when it's too late to change it for that particular thing. We've got the World Cup coming. Why don't they cap it at that? Well, they're not going to because they need money from the World Cup because we paid way too much to get it.
Yep. All right. Amanda's next. She writes, hey, Scott, question for you. Aren't speed cameras illegal now? Why are they still up in Brampton? And if you do get a ticket now, do you have to pay for it if the cameras are no longer allowed?
That's a good question. A lot of people have flagged that for me. There are still speed enforcement cameras in some cities. Remember I told you that the problem here is these mayors that don't care about the people that live in their city. They just care about money because they want to spend on their pet projects. They are hanging on to the bitter end for these cameras. They are still trying to figure out a way to get these cameras in use. None of them are giving out tickets right now. They shouldn't be anyway. And if they do, no, you don't have to pay it. It's law. You can't use these speed enforcement cameras. So to get around it, they say they're going to keep them up to collect speed data. So what they're hoping for is that if they keep the cameras on, not writing tickets, but if they keep the cameras on, they'll get enough data that they can come back and say to Premier Ford, look at this. There's been a big change in people's behavior. People are slowing down because of the cameras, or people have sped back up since you took away the cameras. It's a completely bull argument. The only way to gauge whether or not those cameras work is same car. If you can clock a car and recognize its license plate and it was doing 80 and a 50 on Monday, and then you catch it again doing 70 and a 50, and then you catch it again doing 50 and a 50, that's the only way to say speed is dropping. General traffic trends don't matter here. They don't. It's irrelevant data. But these people don't understand math. They don't understand statistics. And they're going to point out any ridiculous thing they can to try and justify bringing back these cameras. People need to understand most of the mayors in Canada are far left. They would be on the political spectrum, New Democrats or extreme left liberals. Most of them are. They believe in tax and spend. They will never turn down an opportunity to take more money out of your pockets. That's why next fall, we fire them all. We need a complete change in municipal government in this country, especially in the places where they are hanging on to the bitter end for these cameras. Imagine that. They were told, here you go. You can use these speed enforcement cameras. Have at it. And then they got real crazy. They started putting them up in places they shouldn't be. They had very, very low thresholds. And the premier warned them, I will take these things away from you if you don't start using these responsibly. They still wouldn't use them responsibly. They still kept jacking their own citizens, and they loved taking the money. And anybody who tried to argue with them about it, they shut them down. They didn't want to hear it. No dissent at all. Well, then the premier had to step in and legislate that they're gone. And they still want to hang on to these cameras. It's not about safety. It's about surveillance, and it's about money. That's all these cameras are for. Anybody who tries to bring them back, do not give them your vote. If they were cheering on having those cameras, don't vote for them. Next fall, we fire them all. All these mayors got to go.
All right. Dunja. Hey, Scott. Thought I'd share this for listener DMs. 3 paper towel rolls for $14.
What?
3 for $14.
That's insane.
I am the grocery shop person for our family, and so I'm very in touch with prices. I price match and shop around. This, however, stopped me in my tracks. At Walmart, 2 rolls were almost $5. Ridiculous. At Superstore, 3 rolls were $14, 6 for $22. I price matched at $7 for 3 rolls, the best I could find. Just a week ago, 6 rolls were $5 to $6, which is crazy. Thanks for doing the pod. I listen daily.
Thank you, Dunja. I appreciate that.
Oh my gosh, that's expensive.
I have the paper towel habit of a wealthy person. I've got to calm down on the paper towel because I know I abuse it. However, those prices are obnoxious, and everybody sees it. The prices are going nuts. And how many times did the government gaslight us over the last number of years? We're going to do something to get grocery prices under control. Nothing changed. But when they said it very convincingly, and everybody believed them. We're going to have a task force. We're going to have an investigation. We're going to fix the problem. That was 2 years ago. The problem's not fixed. Why is nobody advocating for us? And by the way, if they didn't take so much in tax, it wouldn't be such a big deal. But people are strapped, prices are going up, and the government doesn't care. It's so frustrating, Anna.
Yeah, you got a ration, which is wild. All right, Colleen. Hey, Scott, love the pod. I wanted to let you know that thanks to all the great info you gave about how to get a gun license this weekend, me and my 2 boys are taking the firearms safety course. Thanks for all that you do.
That was from Colleen?
Colleen, yeah.
Colleen, I am so happy you sent me that message. Thank you. And what a great bonding weekend with your 2 boys. For those who don't know, if you want to get a firearms license, there's a process to it. In Canada, it is nothing like in America. In Canada, you have to Google to find out where the course is offered in your area. If you want a non-restricted firearm, this would be like a shotgun or a rifle or something like that, something fairly innocuous. Then you have to take the 1.5 day course. You have to pass an exam. If you want a restricted firearm, it's a longer course. It takes the whole weekend. But you write a test. The instructor says, okay, you've passed. You can mail that with your application into the RCMP, but there's a mandatory cooling off period. It's like 60 days or 90 days, a few months, whatever. Then they'll look at your application, takes them a few months to review it, and they'll approve you or deny you. If they approve you, they send it to your local police force, and then you have to go into the local police station and be interviewed by a local cop. If they sign off on it, then within a couple of weeks, they'll mail you your firearms license. Nobody's making a rash decision that I'm mad at somebody, I'm going to go buy a gun and shoot them. It's impossible in Canada unless you buy one of the gangbanger street guns. This is the legal way to do it. And that firearm safety course is very valuable information. It teaches you a ton of stuff about how to store them, how to safely load and unload them. It's a very hands-on course, too. You actually hold them and go through the process. It's a neat experience. I think everybody should take it. It's not a bad skill to have to be able to understand the basic functions of how a firearm works. And if you choose to buy one, you'll be able to after you take the course, assuming you meet all of the local police and RCMP requirements. Good for you guys. Have a great time. I hope you do well in that course, and I hope you enjoy it too. It is an enjoyable thing. I took it with my son. Oh. We both learned a lot, and we left that course thinking, this is kind of neat. And then when we got our firearms license, when we did that trip to the store to buy our first firearms, that was a neat bonding experience. I highly recommend it to anybody who might be interested.
I've always been interested. I think guns scare me, but I think that it would really help curb that.
Why do guns scare you? Because no gun has ever shot somebody. A person holding the gun has shot somebody, but a gun has never done it.
I don't know. It's just you hear so much and it just seems so scary and how life can be quickly taken. But that's the thing. I want to know that if I'm ever in a situation, I know what I'm looking at, how to properly use it or disengage it. So I think this would be a great opportunity for me to even consider in 2026, honestly.
You also don't have to go and get a firearm.
No, I would just like to have my license.
Well, there you go, right? I mean, I don't have a boat anymore, but I do have my boating license.
Yeah.
It's a good skill to have.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's all kinds of things like that you could do. Colleen, I'm excited for you. You guys have a great time this weekend.
Okay, so this one's from Anonymous. Hey, Scott, just wanted to share an email that I received from my children's schools. They emailed everybody notifying them that they're canceling the Christmas concert. I'm not sure if this is a common thing going on this year, but I'm not happy about it at all. I also have kids that would have loved to take part in a Christmas concert. Seems like they're just taking away a tradition that has been around for decades.
Is this like when the schools tried to cancel prom?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
What is it? Why would they cancel the Christmas concert? Was there any more context or information there?
No, none. Just that everybody's pretty disappointed that this is happening.
I don't know why. I mean, we were doing that when I was in school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the stupid Christmas concert. I hated it. I don't like to sing. I don't like to dance.
I did get to play Mrs. Claus, something I was pretty proud of.
Well, they make you do a whole lot of uncomfortable things in school sometimes, and that was one of them for me. I don't know why they would cancel that. I think that that's a nice time-honored tradition. If they're canceling it because of budgetary restrictions, scheduling, maybe the school's just full of bad kids and they don't want to get an assembly going. I don't know what it is. If it's a reason like that, then okay, I'm interested in hearing it. If they're canceling it for like DEI reasons or for a woke cause or because Christmas isn't inclusive of other cultures or something like that, then I've got a problem with it. But I need a little more information before I can comment on that one.
Hopefully
Either way,
hear that.
I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe go caroling or something like that. Don't lose the tradition of the holidays just because the school is opting out.
All right. This one is from a concerned citizen. Thanks for shedding the light on this. I'm frustrated by how ineffective our immigration system has become. A friend who got her PR residency a few years ago struggled because her points weren't high enough. After consulting lawyers and agents, she finally got through the federal skilled worker draw. She's an excellent structural engineer, 10 out of 10 recommend. During her process, a licensed agent even offered to get her a PR via fake asylum claim, which she wisely refused. Sadly, it's easy to get such fake paperwork in countries like India, and these agents are undermining the system. Meanwhile, the government caps skilled worker immigration while letting in more asylum seekers. I agree, we need a pause until housing, healthcare, and unemployment are addressed.
I don't think the vast majority of Canadians disagree with that. I think anybody, and take all the politics out of it, just for purely practical reasons. If there's nowhere for them to stay, and there's no job for them to go to, and the healthcare system is maxed out, and the taxpayers are broke, why would we bring a single other person here? Now, we do have some international obligations, namely for those seeking asylum or who have a bona fide refugee claim. We have an obligation to let them in and do what we can to help them. But many people have realized that, A, we're incompetent letting people do this on an app, self-declare, and don't even have an interaction with an actual person. They're just allowed to come in and stay for years if they do it that way, the shady way. It should be illegal to file a bogus refugee claim. Personally, I think you should have to put up something. And if it does turn out to be bogus, you don't get it back, whether it's money or property or collateral of some kind. People that are exploiting the system, especially at the expense of people who we could use here. There's lots of people who could immigrate to Canada and do it on their own, just like my parents did, just like your parents did, Anna. Lots of people do it the right way, and we could use their skills. But now there's such an eye on immigration because the government allowed so many people to exploit and take advantage of our generosity for so long that we're not going to let the best and brightest in. We also used to only bring the best and brightest. We don't need a bunch of low-skilled labor to come to the country. We just don't. We have seasonal workers to do the farm stuff, and that's fine. We don't need low-skill people to come here. We don't. We need scientists. We need doctors. We need engineers. We need all of the things that we need. We should be a lot more selective, and I don't know when the Liberals made it unpopular to suggest that, or when it became racist to suggest that. Not everybody's allowed to come here. Full stop. And until the government starts playing by the rules that we all agreed on, that was our consensus on immigration for generations. The Liberals changed it because they wanted to bring as many people here as possible. It works out well for them electorally because those people are more beholden to the government that let them in and feel like they owe them and vote for them. It's ridiculous. It's preposterous. The whole thing is stupid. Nobody comes until we have a place for them. If somebody wants to come here as a skilled worker, no support from the government, they've got the money, they can do it on their own, fine. I'm okay with that too. But the handouts have to stop, and the exploiting the system, like openly laughing in our face as they come here, open the app, say they're a refugee, and we just start handing them money and hotel vouchers and meal vouchers and work permits and all these other sort of things. It's a joke. It's a total joke. So no, that's got to stop. By the way, Michelle Rempel-Garner for the Conservative Party, she's the member of parliament for Calgary-Nose Hill. She just put forward a whole suite of common sense reforms for our immigration system. It'll be very interesting to see whether the Liberals accept the idea. They say, we want to collaborate. We want to work with the opposition. Well, the opposition now has come out with some proposals. Let's see if the Liberals adopt them. Let's see if they stay with their ideology and their plan to swarm Canada with the whole third world, or if they'll put common sense rules and regulations in place. If anyone wants to read about it, just search for Michelle Rempel-Garner on any social media platform, and she has linked up the common sense reforms that she's proposed.
Thank you for that. And this is from a Michelle, this next one. Scott, you need to consider posting a short reel on this topic. I can send it to my close-minded friends this episode, but I worry they won't even make it to this segment about immigration. Everyone should hear and share this immigration piece far and wide.
That was the one that I played back at the beginning of the pod.
Yep.
I didn't make a reel out of it, but I'll be honest with you guys. This pod takes up a hell of a lot of time, and my actual job gets in the way far more than I would like. So
yes.
To sit down and edit video and things like that, I just don't have enough time in the day for it, and I don't have a staff to work on it. I mean, it's just me, and on Fridays, Anna as well. So I don't know that I'm going to have time to create too many reels, but you heard the clip at the beginning of the pod. Ask them to give you 5 minutes. Listen to 5 minutes of this podcast, and in the first 2, they're going to hear that clip. Today's episode.
All right. Danielle, Scott, did you know refugees, asylum seekers, and immigrations of any status have full access to the $10 daycare? I've seen it in Ontario and Alberta. It's not a lack of spaces. It's more taken by families where neither parents work. So kids spend 11 to 12 hours a day in daycare, and some even in home daycares open 12 to 13 hours, 7 days a week. It's heartbreaking. These children are treated as anchor babies. Parents collected benefits, pay nothing, and we cover the cost. There are no checks or balances with the $10 daycare program.
I mean, our social safety net is supposed to be for Canadians. You get $10 a day childcare, and that's offset partially by the taxes you pay. Anybody not paying taxes and that isn't supposed to be here should not have access to these things. Now, when it comes to healthcare, okay, I mean, you shouldn't be here. You have no right to be here, but our government, again, lets you in for some reason. If you get hit by a car, yeah, we got to take care of you. Unfortunately, we do. And that's a cost. It's a drag on our system, but we got to do it. But we should also be looking at how quickly we can get you out of here. That's the problem. There's people here that shouldn't be here, and nobody has the balls to ask them to leave, let alone tell them to leave. Get out. They're taking advantage of our system, and it's wrong. We all pay through the nose for the privilege of living here and having this social safety net. Everything from the benefits that we get to the healthcare service and so on and so forth. The dental care for the people who can't afford it. All of these programs. But they're supposed to be for Canadians who are legitimately supposed to be here and that paid taxes into the system. Not somebody who just got off the boat from the third world, made a bogus refugee claim, and is gaming the system. By the way, $10 a day childcare, I don't think it should be available to people who are at home. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be for people who are in the workforce. If these immigrant parents, and I've never heard of this. I'm hearing about this for the first time from this person who wrote in. Was it Michelle?
Danielle.
Danielle, I didn't know that. But if these people came here, made a bogus claim, they're getting all these benefits and they're getting checks from the taxpayers, and they're sitting around doing nothing all day, but still send their kid to $10 a day childcare so they don't have to watch them, that's sick. Get these people out of here. They shouldn't be here.
Next up, we have Jordan. Hey, Scott, just went on a family trip to Frankenmuth, Michigan. 2 interesting conversations at the border and one at Target.
Oh, I'm curious.
So the officer said that they've been very busy with Canadians crossing and had to shift some officers from Windsor to Buffalo that morning. He emphasized that while the flow had slowed, it's picking up again. So that's one.
Okay, that's good, though. There was, again, a media narrative. It was a psyop trying to convince Canadians, don't go to America. Nobody else is going to America. The numbers are way down. Hardly any Canadians are going to America. This has been ongoing for a long time. I never stopped going to America, and I never will. I love America. I'm proud to be Canadian, but there's certain things that we don't have that America does that I enjoy, and some of them are beer. And, and many of them are restaurants, and a lot of it is weather. So I have no problem going to America. I'm happy to hear that people are finally resisting this media narrative, this elbows up BS that you shouldn't go to America. There's a spat going on with the President of the United States and the Canadian government that we ourselves made worse. The people have nothing to do with this. The American people still love Canadians. Canadians still love Americans by and large, and we shouldn't compromise on that. Let the government sort it out. But if you want to go over to Target because they've got some special cereal that your kid wants, go. You're not unpatriotic for doing that. The problem is the dollar sucks.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Target. So Jordan continues, at Target, a clerk mentioned she misses all the Canadian shoppers and had many questions about what we were hearing in Canada. After chatting, we realized both sides are getting the same message. Avoid Canada. Avoid the USA. She noted that normally there's a huge Canadian crowd for deals, but due to current conflicts, shelves are full and merchandise isn't moving. So we ended up buying items at 60 to 70% off. And even with the currency conversion, it was cheaper.
I don't know necessarily that people are not going to Target because of the trade dispute. I think a lot of it has to do with the dollar. You know, they make a big deal. Oh, there's far less snowbirds going down to Florida and Arizona this year. Yeah, because we have a 70-cent dollar. The new $1 bill in Canada is the old $20 bill. That's what it's worth. We are getting screwed over. Nobody is going to, I shouldn't say nobody, a lot of people do. But when you're watching every penny, to lose 30 cents on every dollar is actually crazy. I really limit what I buy in the States. It's got to be a hell of a deal to offset the currency conversion. So I think we'd be better off with, I've always thought this, When we do finally work out a deal with the Americans, we should get on one harmonized dollar, the NAD, the North American dollar. We don't have to worry about price fluctuations. We just use the same currency. It would make sense on so many levels, but we can't even agree on softwood lumber and milk. So we're a long way away from that. But when we do finally get some adults in power, that would be something that we should strive to get towards.
All right. Next up, we have Karen. Thank you for the information for adopting a canine. I just got one for my 12-year-old for Christmas.
I love that.
My husband says I follow Scott Fox like he's a cult leader. I told him no. He just has great ideas like me.
That's great. Thank you. For those who don't know, the Halton Regional Police, which is my local police force, they have put out a series of plush dogs to resemble their canine unit. And the same dogs that are out there keeping the community safe, you can get a plush version. You can adopt them. And that money goes to help offset the cost of having a whole squad of canines. They go through a lot of food. They eat raw food, too. So it's got to be fresh. It's got to be stored a certain way. Yeah. Those dogs get unbelievable training and they get well taken care of, but there's a cost to that. So if the police want to do something nice like this, you get a nice plush dog out of it, and it's wearing a police vest. It's got a badge and all that sort of thing. It's really nice. And it offsets the cost. I think that's an amazing win-win. Way better than having to raise taxes on people. So I'm all for it. Halton Regional Police Association is selling them. If you Google them, I recommend Freddie. And I've met Freddie. Okay. Freddie's a great dog. And I won't tell you why I was involved in an interaction with the canine unit, but nonetheless, Freddie is great. Okay. And so is Zeus. That's another great one too.
Little babies. All right. Well, keeping with the animal theme, Piper, Scott, my daughter wants a cat for Christmas. My husband is allergic. What should I do?
Well, is it too late to remarry?
I know. I was like, do you really love your husband?
And it's hard to say no to your kids. Yeah. It's really, really hard. And I've been in that boat when your daughter comes and looks at you with those big, beautiful eyes and says, I want a kitty. Well, if dad's allergic, I guess that kind of answers that. Is there a compromise? Not really. Not with allergies. I don't know. It's up to dad if he wants to take the allergy pills or whatever. Yeah. I think that the allergy needs to be the number one consideration, but maybe you can compromise. Maybe it's not a cat that sheds. Maybe you get a dog that's hypoallergenic. I've got a Bernie doodle and he's hypoallergenic. And that solves the allergy problem. There's going to need to be a compromise here, Piper. And your kid. So try and figure it out so it works for everybody. But either way, having a pet when you're growing up is such an amazing thing.
I have to agree with you. All right. Next up, we have Cheryl. Another great week of podcasts. Thanks so much for telling us what we don't hear anywhere else. I really took to heart your suggestion to turn off during the weekend. And as the world is just so depressing and stressful for us middle class, enjoy your weekend. That's from Cheryl.
Thank you. I disconnect on the weekends too. Although I don't want you to not listen to the podcast.
Yes, no, for sure.
It helps me out a lot when you do. However, I totally understand. Sometimes you got to disconnect, and I can actually see it in the numbers too. There's people who maybe they skip an episode after a particularly sad one. I would love to have you listening, but I understand if you need to disconnect for your mental health. It's so frustrating because all of us in the middle class, we see what the problem is. We know what the solution is. Stop printing money so inflation goes down and then interest rates can go down, and give people back more of their money. That's how we solve the problem we're in. Not spending billions more, no more corporate welfare, no more printing money to finance stuff that your grandkids are going to have to pay back in the future. None of that. Just give the power back to the people. But the problem is the politicians are not listening to us. And they won't listen to us because they've got an agenda. They treat politics like it's a team sport. And they just want to win. And it shouldn't be about winning. Winning is when the middle class is thriving. That's when you've got a successful country. When the middle class has got food on the table, a roof over their head, got a car in the driveway. They can take their kid on a vacation or their family on a vacation once or twice a year. They've got kids playing sports. The schools are cranking out great results. That's when we've got a successful country, and we are far from it right now. And all of our problems are linked to money. And the government does not care. This budget that got passed had nothing in it for the middle class. Zero. So what do? You can get angry, or you can just disconnect a little bit. get angry when it counts. Get angry when it's time to get angry. Get angry when we finally have an election or one is on the horizon. For now, try and not let it consume you, because it is so easy to let it do that. It did it to me back in the spring when we were in the election cycle, and I really, really wanted Pierre to win because I agreed with his policies, and I know that what he is proposing is good for the middle class. I knew that. But I was surrounded by people who didn't get it. People who were so caught up in every spoonful that the media was feeding them, that actually believed Donald Trump was coming to annex our country, that believed that Elbows Up was an actual movement and not a marketing slogan, which is what it actually was. It was so frustrating that people couldn't see it. And I think that if you listen to this podcast, you probably agree with that. The most frustrating thing is that you can't convince people to see it. You know that when their house goes down $300,000 in value, then they're going to be angry. Now, the ideal would be to not put ourselves in a situation where it's going to lose $300,000 in value. But some people just need to learn the hard way. And unfortunately, it was the boomers that got Mark Carney elected, and the boomers are going to hurt the most. Because their savings are going to go, their pension's going to go, their home's going to get devalued. They're going to hurt. They're going to wear this the most. They're going to be the ones at food banks soon enough. And until you can convince the old people, stop watching the news. If you really want information, you've got to disseminate it by watching the news and using a critical lens, or you've got to come to places like this. It's the only way you're going to learn what's actually going on. And if you know what's actually going on and you still think Mark Carney is right, good, more power to you. That's your ideology. But the vast majority of people are just frustrated that other people don't see what we all see. Mm-hmm. It could drive you mad. So yes, disconnect on the weekends if you can, but try and listen if you could. I mean, I got to keep these numbers up.
Well, Amanda says, hey, Scott, longtime listener of the pod and radio stations.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much for this pod. It really helps break down a better understanding and also supporting the middle class and just being aware of multiple sides and extended true versions. I know you've mentioned this on your podcast, but I cannot recall which outlets / station sites, etc. do you find your longer and trusted clips from?
Okay, so a lot of the longer clips come from YouTube. And you want to follow accounts like CPAC, CPAC on YouTube, CPAC Canada. They've got great clips. They do a very good job at aggregating those. I don't really follow the mainstream media on social media platforms, the CTVs, the CP24s, the Globals, people like that. I'm just not interested. But occasionally, if they have a good interview that they haven't edited the hell out of, then I'll use a clip from something like that. But there's other people, there's other influencers. I've mentioned it before, and I think that everybody would probably benefit from following Mario for the North. Mario, the number 4, the North. Mario's great. And he does a very good job as well. He doesn't do a podcast like this. It's not a daily sit down, 45 minutes to an hour where you get the news and you get a little perspective on it. He does mainly short form social media clips, but he's very, very good at it. So Mario's a great one to follow. Jasmine Lane. I emailed her recently and she never got back to me. Jasmine, I think you listen. So could you please check your email and get back to me? Because we have some things to discuss. So that's a good one. There's so many.
DM Scott.
I know. Well, I mean, Canada Proud is another good one. If you follow at We Are Can Proud. We Are Can Proud. Canada Proud is great. You should follow the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. They're very, very good at keeping an eye on how the government is spending our money. Ryan Garrettson is another great account. Ryan, GERRITSEN. Ryan shares a lot of great stuff. Blacklocks Reports. Holly Doan is her name. If you follow Holly Ann Doan. Excellent reporter. Now, most of her content is protected behind a paywall, but you can disseminate a lot from her tweets. And if you're interested, Blacklocks Report, great. Follow it. They have some incredible information. They do the Freedom of Information requests, and they find stuff that the mainstream media doesn't cover. I could probably go on for days about all the different accounts. Those are just a few. The Food Professor from Dalhousie University, it's at Food Professor. Another good one. He has been instrumental, among others, in getting this decision by Health Canada to not even tell us when we're eating cloned meat reversed. They're going to review that decision. And it's because of advocacy like that.
All right. Finally, This is to end, and I think it's a good one. Norbert. Hey, Scott. Norbert.
Norbert. You don't hear a lot of Norberts these days.
No, and he's right. Hey, Scott. Norbert here. Been following your pod since I heard you on my shit. My dad thought. Oh shit! My dad taught me. Is that what?
That is Shit My Dad Taught Me is a great podcast, and it's a lot of inspirational stories, good life advice, stuff like that. My friend Jamie and Chris, they both do that podcast. They've got some good guests. They had me on once before, and that was really nice. I'm glad you found me from that one. Yes. They'll be really happy to hear that too.
Okay, and he goes on, with all honesty, I wish I found your pod sooner. I'm writing you this message because you said we could message you if you want to call you out. Well, I'm calling you out. I need your episodes longer and longer. He writes that in capitals. You are my lifeline. I spent a lot of time on the road and look forward to every episode you release. Thank you for doing your approach, your honesty, and your point of view helps me shape my opinions. I'm no conservative nor liberal. I'd like to think I'm a common sense middle class worker who wants the best for his family. And in this day and age, I am frustrated. I'm losing my patience and I'm really scared for the future of my kids and grandkids. So please keep doing what you're doing. I really appreciate you. I really do.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. Just to clarify, though, and it's fine. It's fine. He said you help shape my opinions. I just want to clarify that I am in no way at all trying to shape anyone's opinion. I'm trying to give you the narrative or the counter narrative to what you see on the mainstream media. The mainstream media's got a bit of a monopoly on media because, well, they're on television. And for years, we've been told you can trust the news, but you can't in a lot of cases. So I try and give you what you don't get from them. If you listen to me and you watch the news and you've decided, you know what? Scott played a lot more than I got on the national news last night, and what Scott said makes sense, and that helps shape your opinion, great. Just know that that's not my goal. I'm not trying to influence anyone to vote conservative, but I also have no problem telling you why I do. I'm not trying to influence. I'm trying to inform on this podcast. You know what just came up on my feed here, Anna, and I want to mention this one too, because it's going to be a contentious issue. You're probably going to hear a lot, if you haven't already, about the fighter jets that Canada wants to buy, needs to buy. Right now, we've got this fleet of CF-18s that is so old and such outdated technology. And it costs us a fortune to keep these things flying because they're so old and because of the parts that they use and things like that. We've got to upgrade. When Stephen Harper was prime minister, he ordered the F-35. And Justin Trudeau, for purely ideological and electoral reasons, said, I'm going to cancel that order of fighter jets. That's crazy. Well, fast forward, Justin Trudeau realized he was wrong, so he reinstated the purchase, but then we had to spend more on them. So now they're costing us a lot. We're in line to get 88 of these things. Now there's talk that because we're having this trade dispute with the Americans, that we should again cancel it. And that might be unprecedented. Canceling the same order twice. There's a penalty when you cancel, by the way. So, and by the way, there's a lot of Canadian companies that make parts and things for the F-35. So the F-35, it's an American thing, but it employs a lot of Canadians and it generates money for the Canadian government. Some on the left are trying to convince Carney and the federal liberals, don't buy the F-35 because we're not going to buy American. Buy those Swedish jets, the Gripen fighters. There's a big media push on to try and influence the public for us to not buy the F-35 because it's American and because the Swedish jets made by Saab. They said, we'll create 10,000 jobs in Canada if you buy these jets from us. They are cheaper. They're cheaper to operate and they're cheaper to buy. But cheap isn't good and good isn't cheap. The F-35 is the gold standard. And before you start hearing a lot of media brainwashing about why we should buy them, there's one simple thing that no one can deny. Our pilots deserve the best.
Yeah.
And our pilots, through NORAD operations, fly side by side with the Americans. If there's a call about a rogue flight and we have to dispatch fighter jets, it's going to be a combination of F-35s and right now CF-18s. Wouldn't it make sense if the Canadian and American pilots were flying the same plane? That would make sense. But even if they're not, that's not the end of the world. The difference is the F-35 is a stealth fighter. The Gripen is not. Why would we send our pilots, the incredible women and men of our Air Force, into combat where all the other planes have got stealth technology except for us? We're literally making them a target in the sky. We need to give them the best, and they need stealth capability just like all the other pilots have. And the Gripen is not a stealth fighter. So that's the end of the argument. We're not going to buy something that's subpar just to snub the Americans. And the Americans have already made it known. If you cancel this order again, forget about trade talks. We're done with you guys. Because we keep starting and stopping and screwing them around. We need to buy the F-35. It's a very basic argument, and you're going to hear, well, this plane does this, and that plane does that, and this one's cheaper, and, well, that one's made in America, and we don't like America. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. Our pilots deserve the best. They deserve stealth technology, and we need to give them stealth technology instead of making them the only target in the sky. All the other planes are invisible to radar except for the Canadian ones. Yeah. It's stupid. We should go. We should have never canceled it in the first place. If we cancel it again, that's just crazy. So I wanted to get that out there because I think that's an important topic.
And also, if you could answer as a recap for you as well, your audience, they don't want shorter, they want long episodes from you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hey.
Just throwing that out there so you keep that in mind. They want more, not less, because they like what you got to say.
Well, I think it depends on the day. Okay. Some days I do go longer. There's been a couple this month where I went over an hour, and I never used to do that. Okay. The length is something, though, that I'm conscious of because I know that I'm not the only game in town and people have other podcasts that they want to listen to. So my line of thinking was, if I make these fairly short, easy to listen to, and then you can move on and listen to other pods, you can listen to radio, you can listen to music, whatever you want, then that's good. But I guess I underestimated the demand for more of this content, or maybe I just don't want to admit it that it's there. I don't know. That's a self-deprecating thing, but I will work on it. You want longer episodes, I'll make some of them longer, but I'm not committing to doing every episode like that because I do think that there's something to what I just said. You got other things to do, you've got other options, and I know that I need to be at my best every single day to keep you listening, and that's what I aspire to do. Again, I'm not here to change anybody's mind. I will always declare my bias, and I will always give you the unfiltered truth as I understand it.
Hey now.
Have a great weekend, Anna.
Oh, you too. Thank you.
I will catch you right back here on Monday with another episode of Scott Fox After 9. Today, I leave you with the sounds, as always, of Pat James and the Whole Truth. Hey now.